Okay, Cambodia, Susan and I, and back to reviewing 9 different hotels in about 5 weeks. Okay, sorry I ran out of memory and continue. We were in Hoi An and reviewing the Hoi An Lakeview Homestay, Lakeview Villa Homestay, or the other name was Con Ho, or they have another name that might be under their own personal name. So watch the names. That one has one of the lowest ratings, and it was because the room not spotlessly clean like what I usually find, and the flooding shower, and the woman there was just a phony. I suppose that if you just were enthralled with landing in Vietnam and you just wanted to play their game and stay there for 2 days, we booked it like for 2 weeks and we stayed there for I think 3 days. And when we arrived, our driver even said, "Are you sure?" The place was a complete construction site. They're adding like 8 more units and the whole place was torn up. Getting there was not easy to find. Breakfast was minimal. Her attitude was like night and day, sometimes super phony, sometimes walk by you and not say anything. And she actually had the nerve to ask me why I chose my partner. As if, why'd you choose her? And I was still nice at that point. I was a little bit shocked. But first of all, none of her business. And second of all, it's like, what kind of put down is that? And then trying to overcharge me on motorbike rental that she arranged, and then later came down on the price because I had said, oh, 150, and the bike was just kind of, they had to bring a second bike because it was, the first one was junk. So anyway, that was in Hoi An. On the way into Hoi An, before you actually get there, Lakeview Villa Homestay, and I forgot what her name is, but to put it mildly, we did not hit it off. And then as we're leaving, she made some kind of remark to our driver in Vietnamese, and they laughed, and she did not bother to translate. I mean, her English was good enough she could be catty and condescending, and when I made some remark of well, I'll probably have something, she was correcting me. Well, probably is not going to help me. It's like, yeah, I don't know if that's super host, super phony, or just a super bitch. But anyway, and their child was, one of the youngest kid was like striving for attention and tried almost attacking me and almost ripped a bracelet off my arm. I mean, the whole thing was just over the top bad. Breakfast was a joke. I don't usually eat eggs swimming in oil or omelet that's overcooked. Anyway, that one I'd give number 1. And if you see a scathing review on Airbnb, that was probably the one. If you stayed in one of their new units for a month, that might be okay. But my opinion of Hoi An was like tourist mecca, and if you're into shopping and eating, we found another restaurant that we also gave a pretty bad review on after she was literally taking Nai's phone and almost pushing the buttons to put a good review about her own restaurant. I mean, and holding your arm and smiling. I mean, I thought, like I was joking with Nai here, I thought if she's any more friendly, I think she's going to have sex with me. I don't know. Like some of the tourist places these people have got, they must have gone to some kind of tourist, how to handle tourist class, because they got it down. Okay, and then back to Danang. after a few days, we kind of just got fed up with Hoi An and the touristy, phony action there. And we chose another homestay with Airbnb, and it was called Olwyn Home. The last one in Hoi An, I give it a 1. And the next one, Olwyn Home, I also give it a 1. And I'll tell you why. And the woman, 2 lady partners, one woman named Lily, her English kind of limited, but we had major issues. The first time we moved in, the first thing I smelled when we opened the room, it just smelled like urine. And then looking in the bathroom, the toilet was like yellow behind it. So I figured, well, we're tired. I'll just, dump a bunch of soap on there and spray it off. It'll probably be better. So I washed it like twice. Then the hot water was ridiculous. It was like some of the worst. It was either screaming hot or it overloaded and blew the breaker, and then we didn't have hot water for about 24 hours. And then it was not really warm enough to say you had a hot shower. It was about $18, $19 a night, and we had booked that and then extended it. I had complained to this Lily, and I also wrote a scathing review in there, and she actually lied in response, saying that I didn't pay the bill for their mini bar, which was like a few bottles of water. They wanted $4 for $1 worth of water. But anyway, I paid everything, and who cares? Like, we were happy to get out of there. So that one was an issue. I explained the plumbing. I've done plumbing. I've done electrical. I've built a bunch of houses, and it's like, don't argue with me. And I explained what the problem was, and every other faucet was fine except the shower. You could not adjust, and the pressure was so low, the two of us could pee harder than that. And then next to it, the toilet would, the butt gun would spray really hard, so it's obvious the problem was sediment in the faucet. I explained that 10 different ways. They came up and talked to me at 11:30 at night and were arguing with me that no one else had had a problem. I'm saying, well, this is not adequate. And so I give them a solid 1 or less. And I mean, actually, I wouldn't even give them a rating. And I would say, don't stay there. Olwen, Olwen home. And her name is Lily. That was the sourest situation. I don't know if they're rated as Superhost or not. But that's unfortunate. They could have just refunded my money, and we were going to get a different room, but by then it was just like, oh, forget it, And then last and not least is Terrain apartment number 2. They do have a Grand Terrain, and they have a Terrain third location that is more of a tourist tour type thing. And the Terrain apartment is a short walk to the beach. I think they call it Terrain Beach Apartment. It is not. That's typical. And this place has, as you can see, a handy little kitchen, TV, and washing machine, and does not include the sleeping young lady out in the bed. But we've had a pretty good stay here. We've been here for going on a week or so, and that was through Airbnb, and the price was right around, I think, $18. I don't remember. But yeah, that's 9 different hotels and homestays, serviced apartments, since about December 10th. So that's kind of a whirlwind, and this has been great, good location. There's a great Italian restaurant within walking distance, El Italiano. we've eaten there 3 or 4 times. There's a couple of vegetarian restaurants, pretty much everything you need in this area. The only thing I can say is, one, hell of a lot of tourists. This is kind of the tourist area. And, walking at night, I would say this is one of the safer cities I've probably been in 4 different countries. Definitely have had no problems. But that is not the only issue. Gosh, I never had a problem. There's more to it than that. But generally, my friend that has lived here for 3 generations has described it very well. And Vietnam does have a number of undercover police. So there's kind of that hidden watching eye, which you might keep in mind. Don't talk negatively about the country. And there's an element of safety that kind of like Big Brother is watching. So you have that. And this is close to Hoi An and Mai Beach. Very nice. Perfect day today. Probably 81, 82 degrees. Whereas back in the West Coast, I heard they're having a snowstorm in the mountains. It snowed about 3 feet this weekend. Sorry if you're in the U.S. and it's snowing out. Anyway, that's it for now. Cambodia, Susan and I getting ready to fly out of Danang back to Cambodia and onto our new adventures at the farm, building our tiny house and training our puppy. So until next time, please like and subscribe and keep watching.